Ebullient. উচ্ছ্বাসিত উত্তেজিত.
Someone who is ebullient is bubbling over with enthusiasm, so it shouldn't be much of a surprise that ebullient derives from the Latin verb ebullire, which means to bubble out.
When ebullient was first used in the 1500s, its meaning hewed closely to its Latin source. Ebullient meant boiling, or bubbling, and described things like boiling water and boiling oil. Later did the word's meaning broaden to encompass emotional agitation, or the roiling of boiling liquid. Adverb of ebullient. Ebulliently.
Synonym.
Agitated. Brash. Buoyant. Chipper. Effervescent. Effusive. Elated. Exuberant.
Antonym.
Depressed. Down. Serious. Unenthusiastic. Unhappy. Apathetic. Disinterested.
Eclectic. বিভিন্ন শৈলী বা ধারণার মধ্যে যা সেরা মনে হয় তা নির্বাচন করা.
The English word eclectic first appeared in the 17th century to describe philosophers who did not belong to a particular school of thought, but instead assembled their doctrines by picking and choosing from a variety of philosophical systems.
Eclectic comes from the Greek eklektikos, meaning selective, from the verb eklegion, to select.
Noun of eclectic. Eclectic. An eclectic is one who uses an eclectic method or approach.
Synonym.
Broad. Diverse. Varied. Wide-ranging.
Antonym.
Narrow. Narrow-minded. Incomprehensive. Particular. Specific. Unvaried. Efficacy. যথাযথ ফলাফল তৈরির ক্ষমতা বা শক্তি. The degree to which a method or medicine brings about a specific result is its efficacy. You might not like to eat it, but you can't question the efficacy of broccoli as a health benefit. Efficacy is a more formal way to say effectiveness, both of which stem from the Latin verb efficer, to work out, accomplish. The effectiveness or efficacy of something is how well it works or brings the results you hope for.
Synonym.
Adequacy. Competence. Effectiveness. Potency. Virtue.
Antonym.
Ineffectiveness. Enervation. Idleness. Impotence. Inability. Inactivity. Effrontery. সাহসী আচরণ যা করার অধিকার নেই. If you rudely behave as if you have a right to something that you have no right to, you're committing effrontery. Tracing to the French word effront, meaning shameless, the word effrontery is also connected to brazen, which means of brass, and describes someone so accustomed to effrontery that he's hardened to it and has no concern for the harm done to others.
Synonym.
Temerity. Audacity. Hardihood. Effrontery. Nerve. Cheek. Gall. Chutzpah.
Antonym.
Humility. Meekness. Modesty. Shyness. Timidity. Elegy. শোক কবিতা, মৃতদের জন্য বিলাপ. An elegy is a sad poem, usually written to praise and express sorrow for someone who is dead. Although a speech at a funeral is a eulogy, you might later compose an elegy to someone you have loved and lost to the grave.
Synonym.
Dirge. Lament. Requiem. Threnody. Elicit. সুপ্ত বা সম্ভাব্য কিছু বের করে আনা বা প্রকাশ করা. Elicit has to do with creating or provoking a response. A great speech will elicit cheers. A bad speech will elicit boos. Teachers try to elicit responses from students.
If a friend smiles at you, it will probably elicit a smile of your own. In court, a lawyer might try to elicit mistakes and inconsistencies in the testimony of a witness. In all cases, whatever is elicited is some kind of response. So, elicit is call forth emotions, feelings, and responses.
Synonym.
Bring out. Evoke. Extort. Extract.
Antonym.
Disregard. Hide. Repress. Suppress. Noun of elicit. Elicitation. An act of bringing out emotion. Elicitor. The fact that brings out emotion.
Embellish. অলংকার বা রং ব্যবহার করে আরো আকর্ষণীয় করে তোলা।
The word bell shows up in the middle of embellish, and bells are something that decorates or embellish something, making it more attractive. If you embellish speech, though, it can get ugly if you add a lot of details that aren't true. Embellish is related to the French word for beautiful, beau, and traditionally, it has been used to imply beautifying an object with the addition of things inessential. That's still true, however, it is equally appealing as an adjective for making statements or stories sound more entertaining. So, embellish is making beautiful with ornamentation.
Synonym.
Adorn. Exaggerate. Spiff up. Noun of embellish. Embellisher. Who embellishes. Embellish is the act. Embellisher is the actor.
Empirical. তত্ত্বের চেয়ে পরীক্ষা এবং পর্যবেক্ষণ থেকে উদ্ভূত ফলাফল।
When empirical first appeared as an adjective in English, it means simply in the manner of an empiric. An empiric was a member of an ancient sect of doctors who practiced medicine based exclusively on observation or experience as contrasted with those who relied on theory or philosophy. The name empiric derives from the Latin empiricus, itself from Greek empirics, meaning experienced, based on observation of medical treatment. The root of the Greek word, pyros, is a derivative of pyrrha, meaning attempt, trial or.
Synonym.
Existential. Experiential. Experimental. Objective. Observational.
Antonym.
Conjectural. Hypothetical. Impractical. Theoretic. Theoretical. Unobserved. Emulate. সমান বা অনুরূপ হওয়ার চেষ্টা করা, বিশেষ করে অনুকরণ করে।
When someone is impressed because of their great skills, brains, strength, or accomplishments, others will emulate them. To emulate is to imitate and model yourself after someone. The verb emulate joined the ranks of Latin-derived English terms in the 8th century. It comes from emulous, a Latin term for reveling or envious. Two related adjectives, emulate and emulous, appeared within a half-century of the verb emulate. Both mean striving to emulate, marked by a desire to imitate or rival, or sometimes jealous, but emulous is rare these days, and the adjective emulate is obsolete.
The latter did have a brief moment of glory, however, when William Shakespeare used it in Hamlet. Our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway. There depressed on by a most emulate pride, dared to the combat. So emulate is imitate and model yourself after someone.
Synonym.
Follow suit. Imitate. Mimic. Mirror. Adjective of emulate is emulous. Means inspired by or deriving from a desire to emulate. Emulate is the act. And who emulate is emulous. Endemic. একটি নির্দিষ্ট মানুষ বা দেশের অন্তর্গত বা স্থানীয়। Endemic made its way into English via French, and New Latin and likely has its ultimate origin in the Greek adjective mnemos, a word with multiple uses, among which is one describing a disease confined to one area.
In current use, endemic characterize diseases that are generally found in a particular area. Malaria, for example, is said to be endemic to tropical and subtropical regions, while epidemic indicates a sudden, severe outbreak within that region or group.
Endemic is also used by biologists to characterize plant and animal species that are found only in a given area, such as the Royal Bengal tiger.
Synonym.
Local. Regional. The noun of endemic is endemic. Means an organism that is restricted or peculiar to a locality or region, an endemic organism. শারীরিক, মানসিক বা নৈতিক শক্তির অভাব।
To enervate is to weaken, wear down, or even bum out. It comes from the Latin enervare, which means basically to cut the sinew, or to cause to be cut from the muscle. That would certainly weaken someone. Usage examples. Although a 3-hour lecture on the history of socks might thrill someone, it would enervate most people. So would a too long soak in a hot tub. With your parents. When something enervates you, it does more than get on your nerves, it brings you down.
Enervate. Weaken. Remember as never ate. If you never ate, you will feel enervated.
Noun of enervate is enervation. Means a feeling of being drained of energy or vitality. Verb of enervate is enervate. Means cause someone to feel drained of energy or vitality.
Enervate is adjective. Verb of enervate is enervate. Noun of enervate is enervation.
Synonym.
Debilitate, devitalize, disable, enfeeble, exhaust, fatigue.
Antonym.
Assist, energize, help, invigorate, mobilize.
Engender. কোনো কিছুর কারণ বা জন্ম দেওয়া, অনুভূতি, পরিস্থিতি বা অবস্থা. Engender is a fancy way of saying to make happen, like when you engender the spirit of teamwork and cooperation by encouraging others and doing your share of the group's work. When engender was first used in the 8th century, it meant propagate or procreate, but extended meanings soon developed. Engender comes from the Latin verb generare, which means to generate or to beget.
Usage examples.
The idea that anyone could love books as much as the thief even appeared to engender a certain empathy.
Synonym.
Beget, arouse, generate, incite, induce, instigate, stimulate. Ephemeral. ক্ষণস্থায়ী, যেমন একটি পোকা যা মাত্র একদিনের জন্য বেঁচে থাকে.
Ephemeral was originally a medical term with the specific meaning lasting only one day, as a fever or sickness, hemera means day in Greek. The word became more general, coming to mean lasting a short time, covering the lifespans of plants or insects, and then eventually anything that is fleeting or transitory. Our related word is the plural noun ephemera, meaning things that are meant to last for only a short time.
Usage examples.
Today's ephemeral wealth of some of the region's nations, based on the single non-renewable resource of oil, conceals the region's long-standing fundamental poverty and difficulty in feeding itself. Noun of ephemeral is ephemeral. Means something ephemeral.
Synonym.
Fleeting. Short-lived. Transitory. Brief. Fugitive. Temporary. Transient. Volatile.
Antonym.
Permanent. Perpetual. Eternal. Everlasting. Interminable. Equanimity. মানসিক চাপের মধ্যে স্থিরতা.
If you take the news of your parakeet's death with equanimity, it means you take it calmly without breaking down. Equanimity refers to emotional calmness and balance in times of stress. If equanimity reminds you of equal, that's because the words have a lot in common. The noun equanimity was borrowed from Latin equanimus, from equanimus, even temperate, fair, formed from equus, even, level, equal, plus animus, mend. The archaic phrase to bear with equal mend means to bear with a calm mend, and is a translation from the Latin. The phrase a level mend also refers to calmness. A near synonym is composure.
Synonym.
Aplomb, calmness, composure, serenity, tranquility, calm.
Antonym.
Agitation, excitement, distrust, doubt, fear, frustration. Equivocate, ইচ্ছাকৃতভাবে অস্পষ্ট বা এলোমেলো কথা বা কাজ। When you are unwilling to make a decision, and almost intentionally go back and forth between two choices, you are equivocating. When politicians equivocate, they are often afraid of upsetting, and thus alienating, voters with their decisions. A key part of equivocate is the root vocate, which comes from the Latin vocare or voice. When you give your voice to two opposing views in order to mislead or keep your options open, you're equivocating. Think of the expression, to talk out of both sides of your mouth. If you want to go to a party and your parents keep saying maybe, it depends, tell them to stop equivocating and give you a straight answer.
Equivocate.
Synonym.
Kedel. Dodge. Elude. Escape. Issue. Evade. Falsify.
Antonym.
Confront. Encounter. Meet. Release. Take on. Erudite. গভীর জ্ঞান থাকা বা দেখানো.
If you call someone erudite, that means they show great learning. After you've earned your second fit, you will be truly erudite. Erudite is from Latin verb erudire, to teach, which comes from rudis for raw, unskilled, ignorant, the source of our word rude. If you bring someone out of a raw state, you educate them, so someone who is erudite is very educated indeed, and perhaps a bit of a show-off. Taking these meanings into account, erudite stays true to its etymology. Someone who is erudite has been transformed from a rohent or uniformed state to a polished and knowledgeable one through devotion to learning.
Synonym.
Knowledgeable, literate, scholarly, brainy, cultivated, educated,
Antonym.
uneducated, common, ignorant, uncultured. Esoteric. শুধুমাত্র নির্দিষ্ট কিছু মানুষের কাছে বোধগম্য, গুপ্ত.
Do you know the secret handshake? If you haven't been brought into the inner circle of those with special knowledge, esoteric things will remain a mystery to you.
In the olden days, achieving esoteric knowledge meant getting initiated into the mystical arts and learning secrets unknown to regular folks. Now when a subject is called esoteric, it's usually something not so mystical but still hard to penetrate. The opposite of esoteric is exoteric. According to one account, those who were deemed worthy to attend the Greek philosopher Aristotle's learned discussions were known as his esoterics, his confidants, while those who merely attended his popular evening lectures were called his exoterics. Since material that is geared toward a target audience is often not as easily comprehensible to outside observers, esoteric acquired an extended meaning of difficult to understand.
Synonym.
Abstruse, arcane, mystical, Delphic, achromatic, Kabbalistic.
Antonym.
Familiar, noun, obvious, public, unmysterious. Eulogy, মৃত ব্যক্তির প্রশংসার একটি আনুষ্ঠানিক অভিব্যক্তি.
At every funeral, there comes a moment when someone speaks about the life of the person who died. The speaker is delivering what is known as a eulogy. A eulogy is a formal speech that praises a person who has died.
Less common synonyms for this kind of praise the dead speech are panegyric and encomium. Sometimes the dead person was so unimpressive that there's nothing nice to say. And sometimes they were so awful that the only appropriate speech is a deslogy that describes their faults and failings.
Synonym.
Citation. Pain. Tribute.
Antonym.
Blame. Censure. Criticism. Denunciation. Disapproval. Calumny. Condemnation. Euphemism. আক্রমণাত্মক কোনো কিছুকে ভদ্রচিত উপায়ে বলা.
Euphemism is from Greek euphemismos, meaning good speech, and it's a way that we paper over uncomfortable things with more pleasant-sounding words. These days we tend to use euphemisms when talking about anything having to do with elimination of bodily waste, toilet, bathroom, and water closet were all originally euphemisms.
Synonym.
Circumlocution, delicacy, floridness, grandiloquence, inflation, pomposity, pretense, prurism.
Exacerbate. আরও খারাপ করা.
The Latin adjective acer, meaning sharp, forms the basis of a number of English words. Acerbic, having a bitter temper or sour mood, acrid, having a sharp taste or odor, and acrimony, a harsh manner or disposition, are just the tip of the jagged iceberg. For a formal-sounding verb that means to make worse, try exacerbate. If you're in trouble, complaining about it will only exacerbate the problem.
Synonym.
Aggravate. Annoy. Heighten. Inflame. Intensify. Irritate. Provoke. Worsen.
Antonym.
Improve. Place. Soothe. Comfort. Compose. Pacify. Placate. Exculpate. ফৌজদারি অভিযোগে নির্দোষ বলে ঘোষণা করা. Exculpate is the joining of the prefix ex, meaning not, and the Latin non culpa, meaning blame. Readers may be familiar with the Latin phrase mea culpa, which translates directly as through my fault, and is used in English to mean a formal acknowledgement of personal fault or error.
To exculpate means to find someone not guilty of criminal charges. If you've been wrongly accused of robbery, you'd better hope a judge will exculpate you, unless you want to go to jail because you've heard prison food is amazing.
Synonym.
Absolve. Acquit. Amnesty. Clear. Canon. Discharge. Dismiss. Excuse. Exonerate.
Antonym.
Censure. Charge. Condemn. Convict. Incarcerate. Incriminate. Punish. Sentence. Noun of exculpate. Exculpation.
Exculpate is verb. Exculpation is noun.
Exigency. জরুরি অবস্থা.
The meaning of exigency is obvious from its source, the Latin noun exigentia, which means urgency, and comes from the verb exigere, meaning to demand or require. An emergency situation, or exigency, is urgent and demands immediate action. Think of a mix of excitement and emergency, and you have exigency, a sudden, urgent crisis. The very word conjures up danger and intrigue that demand a cool head and an immediate effort at a solution. Our lives are filled with exigencies, both large and small, from a child stuck in a tree to lightning striking your house to catastrophic river flooding. Each is an exigency, it's all a matter of perspective.
Synonym.
Contingency, vicissitude, acuteness, constraint, crisis.
Extrapolation. পরিচিত তথ্যের উপর ভিত্তি করে ভবিষ্যৎ সম্পর্কে অনুমান.
Extrapolation comes from the word extra, meaning outside, and a shortened form of the word interpolation. Interpolation might sound like a made-up word, but it's not. An interpolation is an insertion between 2 points. So an extrapolation is an insertion outside any existing points. An extrapolation is kind of like an educated guess or a hypothesis. When you make an extrapolation, you take facts and observations about a present or known situation and use them to make a prediction about what might eventually happen.
Synonym.
Calculation. Estimate. Estimation. Forecast. Computation. Guess. Prognostication.
Verb of extrapolation. Extrapolate. Adjective of extrapolation. Extrapolative. Another noun of extrapolation. Extrapolator.
So, extrapolate is a verb. Extrapolator and extrapolation is noun. And extrapolative is an adjective.